Hi, DJ Tina here, host of HMTV Canada Easing. On the phone with me today is Mike Reno of Loverboy. Hi Mike, I agree with the bio on one of your CDs. Your song track Turn Me Loose is a signature song for Loverboy and is still getting airplay on Dave FM and other radio stations throughout Canada today, years later, which is awesome. Our area is filled with diehard Loverboy fans. Congratulations on the release of your new CD, Just Getting Started. Can you tell us about your new CD, Just Getting Started? Anything from highlights to inspirations?
Well, first off, I thought it was a clever idea to call it Just Getting Started. After all these years, you'd think that would be the last title for an album, but in all honesty, that's how we felt. We felt like we were kids in a candy store once again, because we hadn't been in the studio together for 12 years or more. And during the process, we really had fun, and we felt like we were just getting started. It just so happens the first song on the album was called Just Getting Started. It's one of the first songs I wrote for the album, and we had peer pressure from fans to come up with the new album, because we started playing some of these new songs I've been writing live, and the fans said, you got to put it out so we can buy it. And so we did. So basically it's peer pressure that got us back to the studio.
That's awesome. I guess the most challenging part of producing the CD was the emotional journey in dealing with your loss, Scott Smith. Is this CD it's dedicated to him?
You know, the first song that I wrote after not writing songs for quite some time, I had trouble writing because I wasn't the right frame of mind. And the first song I wrote was about him and how I felt stranded here without him, because he had been lost at sea. And it opened up the floodgates for me to write more songs, and it allowed me to achieve some peace after all those years. He was not only our bass player, but he was my best friend, and I miss him dearly every day. And it was, I guess it's like a catharsis. It's like a chrysalis where you feel like you're inside, and then the cocoon opens, and then your wings flap, and you become a butterfly. And this is kind of what happened with the writing of Stranded, which was the actual first song we wrote for the album.
Oh, sorry to hear about your loss, Scott Smith.
Thank you.
The songs from Just Getting Started are very heartfelt and well mastered, and with your sounds, they're still all original as they were back in the day, but I think better. Mike, you still have that magic touch of writing timeless classics, lyrics that create imagery. All Loverboy songs have and continues to be part of everyone's life, that they reach out to, we can relate to your lyrics. What motivates and inspires you to write such fantastic songs?
Every one of the songs, be it on the new album or off one of the classic Loverboy albums from the past, is basically just a piece of our lives. I'll give you an example of Turn Me Loose I wrote because I wanted to get out of a band, and I had an attitude of I want to do it right the next time I get in a band, and that's why I started Loverboy with Paul Dean in 1979. Is I wanted to do things better, and I wanted to do it my way. I was tired of listening to managers that were blowing smoke, and I was tired of working with record companies that were not sincere. And so I said, next time I start a band, I'm going to do it my way or no way at all. And that's kind of where Turn Me Loose came from. But what I found is people take that song any way that they want to, which is, in my mind, perfectly written. If people can take a song, even though I wrote it for that reason, and they take it into their lives and they get a better job, or they get rid of an abusive husband, or they quit something and start something fresh and begin a new life. A lot of people took Turn Me Loose as a way to start fresh, but I was very happy about that, because that's that's what a good song is, if people can take it their own way and then put it into their lives. Same thing happened with the song When It's Over. I wrote that about a relationship that ended, and I wanted to make sure that we stayed friends and deal with it, in an adult way rather than be all mad at each other and stuff. So if you really listen to When It's Over, that's basically a song about me breaking up with a girl I'd gone out with for many years because it wasn't right anymore. She didn't understand that I had to travel to do what I do, and she became frustrated, so I wrote that song, and we ended up breaking up.
Oh,
that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. Will Loverboy be creating music videos from the song tracks Just Getting Started?
I don't think so.
No?
I think our video days are over. I honestly do. I don't think people come to see Loverboy to see what we're wearing or what we look like. I think they come to sing along with the songs that they know. They were part of their landscape of their lives over the years, and even the new songs, they will become part of the landscape of their lives. But I find that if we do put out a video, if we made a video, I don't know anybody that would play it, because they seem to only want to play certain videos for certain bands, but they never would play this, and it would just be a waste of time and money, in my opinion.
Okay. From one of your bios off your CD, Loverboy Classics, back in the day you quoted, a quick, no bullshit approach to recording developed, write and rehearse, record 3 takes of each song, think on the first, groove on the second, and go nuts on the third, then do fix-ups, solos, and BGs, mix on the sucker, and get back on the road. Compared to back in the day, how did the recording, mixing, and mastering of your new album, Just Getting Started, go?
It's funny you should ask that, because in this particular day and age, a lot of this things have changed with recording. In the old days, you had to run tape, and you had to get everybody's take perfectly, and you go over and over and over. Nowadays, you can use Pro Tools, which is a technique whereby you can just shift things around and make it better. Even if it's not a great take, you can turn it into one. Mm-hmm. But in Loverboy's case, we recorded this new album completely backwards, and I'll give you an example of that. In the old days, we would record the bass and the drums, which we call the bed tracks. Then we would record the guitars and the keyboards and layer it like that. After we got the full band played for 3 weeks, we would parcel off and get one guy in at a time and layer it on. And then at the very end of the project, we would do all the vocals. Well, this time, we recorded all the vocals first, and people would, when they strapped their headphones on to record their tracks, they got to hear the finished product. And I think that's a complete reversal of the old way of recording. And to give you an example of how much everyone liked it, our drummer recorded the whole album in a day and a half. He just strapped the headphones on and it sounded so good. He just banged it off like all 10 songs in a day and a half. And it was like, he said it was the best time he'd ever had.
Wow, technology sure has changed from back in the day, eh?
It sure has.
That's awesome. And the current lineup is yourself, Mike Reno on vocals, Paul Dean guitars, Doug Johnson keyboards, Ken Spider Senave on bass.
Suneve, yeah.
Suneve on bass, Matt Frenette drums. What was the experience like when all the band members came back together to play for the first time in years?
Well, first off, I want to remind the audience that's listening and watching that I have, Loverboy has played 100 shows at least every year right from the get-go. We took a brief period of a year off when, in the early 90s, when the record company decided they wanted to think about whether or not they wanted a new album. And we had toured ourselves to the bone. We've been touring 10, 11 years straight. So we took a little breather then, and after that we started taking shows and playing 100 shows a year. So we've been at this. It's not like we got together. When we got together in the studio to cut the new album, we'd already played 80 shows in the year, and we were totally ready. And we played like a machine. It's really quite special. If you were to sit in a room and listen to us play, it sounds like a record. And we just basically pressed record and let it happen.
Wow, that's awesome. So having played like all those shows, it was just natural for everybody to come together and record that album.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Everybody in the band was really happy to play again in the studio and to hear the songs. They played on the radio for a while, and we play the songs live. People sing the words. It's really been a pleasure, and we're proud of the fact that the new album sounds like a classic Loverboy album, but it's just technology made it sound a little more current. We had a young guy mix it, so it would have a new flavor, but it's really state-of-the-art sound mixing and technology. But the bottom line is, when you get the 5 guys in Loverboy playing these songs, they sound exactly like Loverboy from the early 80s, and that's what people are telling me.
That's what I found as well. I found the same, but better.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. 2005 marked a special year for the band and brought Loverboy's silver anniversary. Can you tell us about the band's performance on NBC's variety show Hit Me Baby One More Time?
Oh, sure. 2005 was basically our 25th year playing together, so that's a quarter of a century. It's kind of a milestone as we wanted to do some fun things. We started off the year by playing a couple of shows in the Commodore and celebrating my birthday, and it just kicked the year off really great. And when Hit Me Baby One More Time asked me if we would do a show on television, I said how many people were going to be watching the show, and they said between 18 and 25 million, and they planned on playing the show maybe 10 times in reruns. I said absolutely we'd do it, because we wanted to show the world that we haven't retired, because a lot of people, we slipped under the radar for a lot of people, and they thought we hadn't played in years, and the only way they would see us now is if we were on a TV show and playing really good. So I thought if we got the band to play on TV and let all these 25 million people know it, that they would really appreciate it, and they'd come and see us in concert, and they'd buy our new record, and they'd realize that we were still a really good live band. And I thought the exposure was amazing, win, lose, or draw. For us, it wasn't so much a competition as it was a showcase to the world that we're still playing well and feeling good about it and having fun.
That's really important because huge Loverboy fans that have bought up all your CDs and where you've been away from the music scene, they wonder, I wonder if Loverboy is ever going to come back someday, and they wonder if you're still in the music scene.
And we got a lot of good response from that TV show. Well, first off, a lot of people thought we should have won, but like I said, to me, it wasn't about winning. It was just about showcasing the band and letting everybody know we're still really into it and into having fun on stage. And I think we accomplished that by doing the show. The fact that the band that won, I'd never really even heard very much before. The only reason they won is because the audience in the studio that night were basically all LA people, and they knew the band from LA. But as far as I'm concerned, we won because the 25 million viewers all got a chance to see that we were back, back on stage and really feeling good about it.
That's great news. Can you tell our audience what the experience was like when Loverboy was inducted into the West Coast Music Hall of Fame?
That was an amazing night. We went to the West Coast Music Night, and they had a 10-minute video of everybody that we've grown up with in the industry, producers, songwriters, musicians, managers, record company people. And they had clips from us on the American Bandstand and Saturday Night Live and all these great things we've done over our careers, and they gave us the award and entered us into the Hall of Fame for the West Coast Music Awards, and we were very honored, and it was kind of, it's hard to watch all the accolades, but we really appreciated it, and we really had a good time that night. And we went up on stage to play a song. We ended up playing 4 songs, and the crowd didn't want us to leave, so it was one of those magic nights.
And another great headlining news, Loverboy capped off the year in 2005 with an award from Juvenile Diabetes honoring your hard work in raising funds for research. Are you still active in the Rockin' Research campaign?
Absolutely. We actually started that, Loverboy's Rockin' for Research, in order to help all the children suffering from juvenile diabetes and try to come up with some more money to help come up with a cure for diabetes. And it was something that was close to our hearts in that our guitar player at the time, his son at the age of 3 developed juvenile diabetes, and we thought, we can do this, we can help. And we did, and we got together and we did it, and we still do something every year for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, and we feel very happy to help.
Now,
there's nothing worse than seeing children suffer, and we just wanted to do whatever we could. And we thought having a night of a concert and an auction and bringing our friends in to play some songs, I thought that was a really great way to do it.
That's awesome that you're still active in helping out juvenile diabetes campaign and the research and everything. That's great. Are you still actively performing your video clips for Where You At Baby at Much Music?
I noticed they're playing it a lot lately. They're running it all week this week, and phones been ringing off the hook. Everybody's been phoning up and telling me how fun it is to watch, because it's actually a pretty fun little piece.
I found these episodes interesting. A lot of history has been covered on all the bumps and grinds Loverboy experienced in the music industry from your former record label, Columbia.
Yeah. Was that a question?
Yeah, apparently you took a lot of bumps and grinds from Columbia.
Well, you know what? Columbia was a good record company for us, but at a few points along the way, they forgot that we had a new album out, and we were on tour, and we were, selling out these coliseums and hockey rinks, and they didn't promote the record, so we had to. I ended up doing an interview for Rolling Stone magazine, pointing out, and I did at the time say this is off the record, but Loverboy caught CBS records with the pants down, and I told him off the record, and he made a headline out of it, double page, big red letters, Loverboy catches CBS with their pants down. But the fact was, they had asked us to do a record, then we pressed it, and then we didn't bother shipping it to any of the stores. And shortly thereafter, they did, and it went on to sell 3 million copies. So we were always playing cat and mouse with Columbia Records, because I guess they have a roster of so many artists that sometimes people get lost and forgotten, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't get lost and forgotten. So we always piped up and did the right thing at the right time to get noticed. And it was kind of a love-hate relationship, but we worked it out and had very good success. They made a lot of money from Loverboy.
But did Loverboy benefit from their former record label, Columbia? Did they make any money while they were signed to them?
Loverboy did very well with it. We sold lots of records, and we had one of the best contracts in the business. We had the same contract Michael Jackson had, which was the best of the business. So we had the equal, and we did very well. We sold lots of records. We did a lot of touring, and everybody did well.
Those were the rock star days. That was before the music industry changed.
Absolutely. That's back when people bought records by the millions, and then you could get the band would make enough money to go and do another record and go on tour and stuff. Nowadays, it's very difficult to do that unless you have a roster of hit songs.
Loverboy is now signed to Rockstar Music Corporation. Are they a distribution company too?
No, they're not. We signed with Rockstar Music Corp as a partnership agreement to do a record, with each putting in equal amounts of money in order to facilitate paying for the production of a record. We wanted to, and then we needed to distribute it, and we used Koch distribution for that in Canada, and down in the States we used Walmart, and it's been pretty good so far, but I'd like to see it go further.
Oh yeah, for sure. Is Loverboy endorsed with any music companies, retail stores, or professional music schools?
Actually, I don't think we are. I know that our drummer endorses Yamaha products, and drumsticks and Zildjian cymbals, and we use certain guitar strings and things like that, but we're not heavily endorsed at this time and never really have been. We did make a deal with Walmart, as I said, to promote and sell the last album. That was basically the only endorsement we had so far.
It'd be nice to get more, eh?
Well, absolutely. It's always great to have partnerships out there that push the product and take it to the next level.
Can you tell us how Loverboy landed the opportunity to have their song-track classic Turn Me Loose prominently featured in the adrenaline-packed major motion picture Crank?
You know what? I think what they wanted that song, and they knew about the song because it was a very popular song, a hit song. And nowadays, after you put a record out, it basically, you can use any song you want. You just have to pay the publishing royalties and the mechanical royalties. So they just thought that would be the perfect song for that scene in the movie, and they chose to use it and have since sent us royalty checks for it, which is awesome. It keeps happening, and I just love it.
Has any other Loverboy classics appeared in any compilation CDs or movies?
Loverboy's been in a lot of compilation CDs, a lot of rock CDs. They'll put a few Loverboy songs on it, best of things and the best of the 80s and all kinds of stuff, and you can find out all the different places Loverboy songs ended up on by going to loverboyband.com and going to our very interactive website. Another thing we used right off the bat, in the early days, we had a song in Iron Eagle, and we had I did a song for Footloose. We did another song, Heaven in Your Eyes, for Top Gun, and then we started using Working for the Weekend in movies such as Charlie's Angels 2. It ended up in a bunch of movies. I get lost sometimes. I hear it all the time in movies, and even TV shows use it. Will and Grace use it a long time.
When you're playing live, how is your playlist of playing live shows from your timeless classics to your new song tracks off just getting started? How is the playlist going when you're playing live?
Well, we come out of the box with big songs. Lucky for Loverboy, we had 14 songs in the top 40, so basically the whole night is hit songs, and every once in a while we'll throw in a new song from the new CD, and people stand up and give us a standing ovation when we do. And so that means that they've accepted the new songs as well as the classic songs. And when we start playing, it's one hit after another. There's nothing quite like a Loverboy concert.
Has any of Loverboy albums ever made platinum or gold status in sales?
All of them were multi-platinum.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been very good. We've never done a record that didn't go platinum.
Back in the day, Loverboy toured nonstop, opening up for acts like Kiss, Cheap Trick, Bob Seger, Kansas, ZZ Top. Now, upon your return to the music scene, has any bands toured with your band and played as the opening act for Loverboy?
Absolutely. We've had Kansas open up for us, Aerial Speedwagon, Cheap Trick. You know what the cool thing about the music business is for me is when I first started playing music, I used to play a lot of the Grand Funk and Cheap Trick and Creedence, and now those people are actually good friends of mine, and that's really the rewarding part of the whole music business for me. The stuff I used to idolize, the people I used to idolize, they're now friends of mine, and I think that's one of the most satisfying experiences of my life.
And you still keep in contact with all these old friends, bands you used to open up for back in the day?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're all good friends. It's like a family reunion or a high school reunion where we get together and do the shows. A lot of times in the summer there'll be 8 acts on the bill, and I've toured and played and become friends with all of them. And so it's backstage is really a lot of fun.
Will Loverboy be producing any of their timeless treasured CDs on vinyl as limited editions to sell as promos for special events or charities or in support of juvenile diabetes in the future?
I think we probably will. I can tell you that, we're coming to a point in our lives when we start to plan things like that, maybe start to tour a little less and start putting our records out in support of different charities and help projects out. And we always love it when they add us to different soundtracks for different movies. This is a nice time in our lives where we consider ourselves semi-retired but still very active in the music business, and we look forward to anything that happens like that in the future.
can international fans buy Loverboy CDs and merchandise from both your MySpace page and your main website at www.myspace.com Loverboyband and www.loverboyband.com?
Absolutely. All our merchandise and records are available on all those websites. And also, everything that we've ever done is available on iTunes. And you can get that anywhere in the world. Opened up the iTunes, and all the digital downloading companies have opened up Loverboy to the entire world.
Okay, I have some shout-outs from a few fans, and one fan, Callie Shahanan, says, I was at the New Year's concert, front row, Loverboy rocks, and she's the #1 fan, and she was saying, tell Mr. Reno hi, and he is such a great man.
Well, Callie's become a good friend of ours over the years. She's a big fan and become a friend, and she's from Vancouver, Washington, which is basically down by Portland. And this year alone, she came to about 12 shows, and she's always welcome. She's become a great friend, and she's always welcome at our shows.
I have another shout-out from another fan. William Steiner of Steiner Music says a big hello, and he's out in Victorville, California.
Well, I'd like to say a big hello back to William and say thank you for your support, and keep rocking, my friend.
And when can we see Loverboy come to play in Cambridge again?
Well, we've been doing a lot more Canadian shows this last few years, and it seems like the right thing to do, and the timing's great. As soon as I get off the phone here, I'm going to call the Sam Feldman Agency and make sure that next summer we're out to Cambridge for sure.
Awesome. I guess I have to bug Dave FM, eh?
You just keep bugging them, and they'll put in the request to keep playing it, and we'll be there for you, because we love to play live. That's what we're all about.
The last time we seen you here in Cambridge was at the Fiddler's Green, and seeing that concert was just awesome, and that was a couple years back. So we're looking forward to having that.
We always love to play Canada. We actually started out in Canada. Our record company, Columbia Records, was a Canadian contract, and we've always, we still live here, most of us anyways, and we have an awesome, great love for our own country, and we love to play here, better than anywhere else in the world.
Before we wrap up our interview, do you have any last words?
Well, I just think everybody should try to check out that new record, because a lot of people have been giving it 5 out of 5, and 10 out of 10, and 5 stars, and I think if people actually started purchasing it and adding it to their collection, they would fall in love with all 10 songs as I did.
That's right. So I guess we're going to say here, if you love the CD and you love Loverboy, buy the CD.
That's the way. You got to keep the circle moving. So
yes.
Everybody puts down their $8, and then it keeps us on the road.
That's right.
And
then we can see you come to Cambridge and play. That'd be awesome.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mike, for allowing our HMTV Canada e-zine to interview Loverboy. It's been an honor, and I was really excited to get this opportunity because I'm a huge fan of Loverboy, and I have all your CDs in my collection.
Well, thank you, Tina. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it sounds like you're a true music fan and an awesome Loverboy fan, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you.